Welcome back to Journey into Stories. Today I'm going to be doing a weekly check-in for November 17th, 2024, and this is going to be for the past 2 weeks. Last week when I filmed it didn't work, the audio, and I just thought, it's not that many books I read, so I'll combine it with this week. And so I'm going to talk about 6 books that I got read, and let's get into it. The first book I read was Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. And this was actually one of my Book of the Month books. And when I chose this book, I also wanted to listen to it. So I had to wait, 5 weeks until I was able to get to it. And the reason I wanted to mainly listen to it on audio is it has a really cool part, which is a podcast. And I just love listening to books that involve special things like a podcast. And so that was a lot of fun adding to the whole experience of reading the book. It's What If You Thought You Murdered Your Best Friend, and If Everyone Else Thought So Too, and What If the Truth Doesn't Matter? So this book is about Lucy and Savvy and their best friends. One evening, Lucy is found wandering the streets, covered in her best friend Savvy's blood. Everyone thinks she murdered her. It's been years since Savvy has been murdered, and Lucy has moved on. I think she moved to LA. She ends up going back to her hometown because what happened with Savvy is being broadcast of season 2 of Listen for the Lie. That's the name of the podcast. And so they're trying to help her figure out what happened that night that she can't remember. Did she murder her best friend, or did somebody else? And why can she not remember? So it was really, really good. She goes back to her hometown to try and figure this out and solve her friend's murder, even if she's the one who did it or somebody else. The truth is out there. You just got to find it. I gave this book 3.5 stars. I loved listening to it on Libby. So if you own it physically, read it if you would like, or check it out, an audio book, because I loved it. I 3.5, maybe even 4 stars. I really had a good time with this book, and of course didn't see anything coming. So that's the first book. The next book I read is Sleep Tight by J.H. Market, and this is also another Book of the Month book. I originally said I just have trouble giving anybody lower than 3 stars. I probably would say, not for me, should have DNF'd it. Unfortunately, this is what this book is for me. I didn't really enjoy a lot of my time with the book. The characters, I had a hard time believing what they were experiencing in the book. Don't want to give anything with that away. I didn't like the aspect that was brought into the book. I don't like when that's part of it, but it's the sole survivor of a serial killer, and that's what got me, serial killer. I'm like, oh yeah, that's for me. Might hold the key to stopping a new spree of murders in this propulsive horror thriller in the vein of The Black Phone and The Whisper Man. Beware the one who got away. Father Silence once terrorized the ruler town of Twisted Tree, disguising himself as a priest to prey on the most vulnerable members of society. When the police finally found his house of horrors, they uncovered 19 bodies and 1 survivor, a boy now locked away in a hospital for the criminally insane. Nearly 2 decades later, Father Silence is finally put to death, but by the next morning, the detective who made the original arrest is found dead. A new serial killer is taking credit for the murder and calling himself the Outcast. The detective's daughter, Tess Claiborne, is a detective herself, haunted by childhood trauma and horrified by the death of her father and the resurgence of Father Silent's legacy. So the part of this book that I didn't like is what happens with certain characters. I just didn't believe it. If I was experiencing that, or most people that I know was experiencing what one or two of the characters went through, it just didn't feel to me that it was very believable that they were going through what they were going through. That's where I'm going to stop there. And I didn't like, there were several things that I didn't like in the book, and unfortunately I can't say it because I don't want to give anything away. But I will give this author another chance in the future. I mean, it's not that I disliked the book. It just, there were so many things in it that didn't go for me. I would, it would have been a DNF, but I did want to read it. So it's, I don't want to give it bad or anything, but obviously if I knew going into it, my experience of the reading of this book, I probably wouldn't even have read it, to be honest, but should have been a DNF. Okay, this book, this I listened to. Then I went to a library book sale today, and I picked it up, and I kind of talk about it in that video, but it seemed like I had read it, or I owned it, saw it on my bookshelves or whatever, and I checked my BookBuddy Plus. If you've already heard this, sorry, skip through all this, but I checked my app to make sure that I don't own it, and it said I didn't own it. I don't own it, but I happen to have read it the past week, and I forgot already. So a lot of people, I'm just going to be up front, a lot of people can read a thriller, remember everything about it. That's not me. I could reread the same thriller within, certain period of time, and I would totally forget what's going on. Like I forgot this, but this is She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica. I gave this 4 stars. I give you a little thing of it because I don't remember. And I do remember now. An ICU nurse accidentally uncovers a patient's frightening past in this riveting thriller. Megan Michaels is trying to find balance between being a single mom to a teenage daughter and working as a full-time nurse. While Megan is on duty at the hospital one day, a patient named Caitlin arrives in a coma with a traumatic brain injury after jumping from a bridge and plunging over 20 feet to the train tracks below. But when a witness comes forward with shocking details about the fall, it calls everything they know into question. Was Caitlin pushed? And if so, by whom and why? And that's where I'm going to stop it there. I enjoyed my time with this. I will pick up anything Mary Kubica writes. I enjoy her writing. I have several on my bookshelf. And it just is funny because I'm like, that's so familiar. I know I own that. And it kept not bringing it up. It'd bring up other books by Mary Kubica. And sure enough, when I did my weekly check-in last week, it didn't work because the audio, something with the audio, it wasn't charged or died or whatever, the microphone. And sure enough, this was one of the books that I read. So I did enjoy this. She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica. Okay, the 4th book. It's Girl A by Abigail Dean. And I don't like when they put stickers right there, and I'm going to have to get some type of a Sharpie thing to get that off so I don't rip the cover. This book really grabbed me in the beginning. Like the very first couple of pages, I couldn't put it down. I'm like, oh, I'm going to love this book. And then it kind of went down and then came back up. It was a roller coaster for me. But I'll give it 3 stars. I have wanted to get to this book forever. It's been on my shelf. Obviously, I got it at Target, but it's been on my shelf for so long. I've put in requests thinking I'll get to it faster if it's on the audiobook. I just kept rechecking it, and I don't know why certain books that happens with. But I'll overall, if I didn't say, give this 3 stars. You can flee your parents, you can bury your secrets, but you'll never leave behind what your siblings know, what you all shared. So this book was about Lex Gracie doesn't want to think about her family. She doesn't want to think about growing up in her parents' house of horrors. And she doesn't want to think about her identity as Girl A, the girl who escaped, the eldest sister who freed her older brother and younger siblings. It's been easy enough to avoid her parents, but when something happens and leaves Lex and her siblings, the family estate, she can't run from her past any longer. I'm kind of changing words so I don't give anything away. Together with her sister Evie, Lex intends to turn the House of Horrors into a force for good. First, she must come to terms with her siblings and with the childhood they shared. It was well written as far as very believable with certain traumatic things that were occurring in this book. So I did appreciate the author for doing such an amazing job with that. The characters, I mean, I really believed, of all these books I read, I really believed that this could be a true story, you know. Girl A, Abigail Dean, I'm glad I finally got to it. I will keep it, and I'll give it 3 stars. Yeah, probably more, but we'll do 3.5. We'll do 3.5 stars. Yeah, it was a very, very believable book. Something that horrifically could be a true story. It was kind of a roller coaster for me in different times. Okay, the 5th book I read is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. I've never read anything by this author. I gave this book 4 stars, and mainly I enjoyed how the story was told. I'm not going to go into more details about that part, but how the story was told was genius to me, how the author decided to tell the story. Can you stop a murder after it's already happened? It is midnight on the morning of Halloween. Jen anxiously waits up for her 18-year-old son, Todd, to return home, but worries about his broken curfew transform into something much more dangerous when Todd finally emerges from the darkness. As Jen watches through the window, she sees her funny, seemingly happy teenage son do something. I'm not going to say what, but the way the story is told was wonderful. Chef's kiss. I love this book. I don't own it. I listened to it. 4 stars, Wrong Place, Wrong Time. All right, the last book, it's called Lights Out by Navessa Allen, and I'll post a picture right here. We'll just put a picture of the book here. I listened to, I don't own it. I don't know where I heard the recommendation, because I would give credit to anyone out on social media. And unfortunately, I don't remember who said what about what. With my audiobooks, I just listen to them out loud, you know, unless I'm going out or something, then I'll listen to them with headphones. But if I'm letting the dogs out or whatever, I'll just listen to it loud, because I'm scared the little, too much info, but the little AirPods might pop out of my ear, and then I'm looking for it in the yard. That's happened to me twice before. So when I go outside and I go out with the dogs, I will carry my phone around loud and listen to it. Well, this is not necessarily a book you want to keep loud for just any innocent ears that may, I don't know, walk by the yard. You want to keep your headphones on for this book. I'll give it 4.5 stars. I had a good time with this book. This is book 1 of It's Into Darkness. I'm reading it off Goodreads, off my phone. I think book 2 comes out maybe next summer. It's a very, very steamy book. I don't need another kink. That thought pops into my head whenever I pull up my favorite social media app. But alas, every time I scroll, I learn something new about myself and another one is born. And yes, I know I'm responsible for what the algorithm shows me, but I'm trying to ignore the fact. Lately, my feed has been dominated by masked men. I've favored videos with them dressed in full cosplay, decked out in futuristic military apparel, and wrapped up like ghouls. But more than anything else, my FYP is filled with shirtless men wearing ghost masks. It goes on from there. I don't, you know, there's not a lot to say about this book. It has a storyline that is important, you know, but then a smutty book, they're known for smuttiness, is that a word? And so, you know, you could just imagine, but this book is one of those had me blushing books. And I gave it 4.5 stars, and apparently on Goodreads it's rated at 4.29. Over 82,000 ratings, and almost 14,500 reviews. Let's just see what people are saying. A lot of people 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, not many 2 or 1. Decent, entertaining read. Second book is called Caught Up, and I think it comes out, like I said, next summer. Will I be checking it out? Yeah, I have to now. And this was on Libby. A lot of things that if they're too much, I found Libby doesn't always carry some that I hear about of the smutty books. I wish I remembered whoever said something through the grapevine to somebody else. Kudos to you, because it was a lot of fun. I listened to it. It was a good time. And yeah, so I'll be more aware of what books I have playing loud when I go outside and there may be other people. And, you know, happens to me every time. It's happened through Starbucks drive-through. I forget. It happens all the time because you get, if a book is good, it's a book's good, and you get into it and you think you're just listening to it. If it's an audio book, and then you're just not even paying attention maybe to the world around you, and you know, then it's like, oh God, let's hurry and turn that down. It's not for everybody's ears, is what I'm saying. Yeah, Lights Out. Into Darkness, #1, and it's by Nevessa Allen. I had a good time with it. I'll give it 4.5 stars. All right, that's the 6 books over, I think, the past 2.5. Oh, wait, there's one more. That's the 6 books over the past 2.5 weeks, and I am trying to get through this book. This is the 3rd attempt. I don't know how many attempts I'm going to give this book, but I so want to get through this book. I've thought maybe I could do like I wouldn't even do 48, like a 72-hour readathon for myself, and try and stay up and read it, but I don't want to discourage myself. I just want to be open-minded. I'm kind of taking my time with the book, but yet I also want to somehow set some type of a time frame, because I'm not kidding. This could take 6 months, and I don't want it to. And I don't want it to put me in a slump because I'm not able to get through this. So, but yeah, this 3 times is a charm, people say. So here's hoping. And I will keep you updated on how that's going. But some of this, I just, you know, you do the flip through, and I don't want to read anything or get anything spoiled. Just like, what is this? What is this? And this is, I'm so not making fun of anything. I'm just like, what do you do with that? Now, I'm sure I'm hoping there's explanation before. Okay, so I tried to see if it's on Libby, but they don't have it audio on Libby. And really, why would you want to do it audio on Libby anyway, when I think about it, because I'd miss out on this. And I don't know what this is, the meaning, and when I get to this, I probably still won't know. And I'm only saying that because this is the third attempt. So I am hopeful. I'm excited that I'm on page, I think we figured out it's about 55, even though it says page 40. We're rounding up. Maybe we'll round up to page 50. There's some things backwards. There's some things in red that are crossed off. There's, I don't even know if you'd say that, sideways. And then I get excited when there's just a few words, because it's like, well, that doesn't seem bad. I can read that for what it is. And there's quite a few pages like this, you know, like one word, vanishing. And I'm not giving anything away because I don't know what that means. But sure, I could read that. But the rest, but yet it's so fascinating how this is written, and just flipping through. I'm fascinated by this book. Okay, I'm speechless. We'll just cut it there. Okay. So I am excited. This is attempt number 3, House of Leaves. So one part of me wants to rush me, put a time frame on it. The other part is like, if it takes 6 months, it takes 6 months. But the only thing with that is I'll probably forget what I've already read, you know. So, but I've heard if you love it, you love it. And, you know, I have heard a lot of people really enjoy and love it. I've also heard a lot of people get very frustrated with it. We're trying. That's all you can do in life is, you know, try, and I'm trying. Is attempt number 3. Never give up, because I'm not giving up on that book or myself. I'm not giving up on myself to get the book read. Okay, enough jabber. I hope you're doing wonderful. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Take care of one another. Read something fantastic. Be kind to yourself. And I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Have a great day.